Merry Christmas, everyone. I think we can all agree that 2020 hasn't been a good year. So consequently, I'm not going to focus on the COVID-19 pandemic and how awful the world is. I'm going to deal with some celebrity escapism. And that celebrity escapism being the couple that unsurprisingly is no more, Bradgelina. That's right, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt.
A guy who gets high, takes his shirt off, and doesn't get on with his wife.
So as we know, Brad Pitt was with Jennifer Aniston until he upgraded and got with Jolie on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
But does it dance?
And on Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Bradley lost his mind. Jolie love-bombed the living daylights out of him. He was no longer interested in his wife Aniston. The honeymoon period manifested itself into adopting kids from the third world. Brad naturally would never have gone that direction, but with Jolie and those big ass lips, Brad was on board for whatever. Like, you can adopt kids from Timbuktu, you can adopt kids from Cambodia, whatever you like, princess. As long as I keep getting that sweet ass and those big ass lips, you do what you want, mate. We're talking about a woman who is potentially B.P.D. And by B.P.D, I mean borderline personality disorder.
A borderline personality disorder.
The movie Fatal Attraction, the Glenn Close character, that's a B.P.D example.
You're on your own for the night. That's also obvious. And you get out!
In the third series of Sopranos, the Gloria Trillo character played by Annabella Sciorra, that's a B.P.D example.
Serial killer. I murdered 7 relationships.
I don't got time for this shit.
Oh, now you're gonna leave, you low-life piece of shit? You know what? Here, take your fucking dinner!
Women that are fundamentally emotionally disturbed and fundamentally emotionally imbalanced, yeah? It's borderline, as in they're on the borderline of neurosis and psychosis. Between neurotic and psychotic, to put it in more easier terms, on the verge of insanity, but not quite there, but basically bonkers. Why do I see that? She seemingly has no sense of self. She has splitting behaviour. One minute her dad is her worst enemy and responsible for all her psychological daddy issues. The next minute she's lip-syncing him on camera. One minute she's engaging in masturbatory exhibitionism with her daddy issues much older husband, Billy Bob Thornton.
We in the car on the way here. Yeah.
And it was the most exciting thing.
Yeah, every time it is.
The next minute she's ambassador to the UN.
A country that believes that all men and women are born free and equal.
Like, this chick doesn't know who she is. Women like this, one minute they're going out with Professor von Winkelberg, the mature cerebral guy, and then the next minute they're with Ziggy Gorgeous, the 22-year-old PT, and you think, yeah, but she'd never go out with a guy like that. And then she goes out with someone totally different. This one's been out with Madame Sheminu, yeah?
Remember Jenny Shimizu? Now let's move on to the passionate and stormy bond between Jenny and Angelina and how it all started.
Normally, whatever, Jane from Essex, she likes blokes with brown hair, or blonde hair, or black geezers, or whatever, yeah? But this one, she's all over the place, mate. She inveigled Brad into her toxic web of poison, love-bobbed him, so much so that Bradley, bless him, ignored and totally missed the point that Angelina Jolie has more red flags than a communist parade in China. She went out with a dude who was old enough to be her dad, substance abuse from a teenage age, self-harm from a young age, a lesbian affair with Madame Sheminu, yeah? Why would you marry and have kids with a woman who's embarked in a process of piss off my dad romance with Madame Sheminu, yeah? Sheminzu. This is what I'm saying. This is all because of pornos. Like, you think, oh, your chick's bisexual, so that means you're going to have a wicked threesome. Bruv, first of all, a compartmentalizing, manipulative woman like Jolie is far too stingy to hook you up with a threesome anyway, yeah? But you only think that's wicked because of pornos. And I'm saying Bradley's like boomer Gen X generation. He's not this millennial Gen Z generation what just stay at home and wank. If it weren't for pornos, you wouldn't think it's amazing. You'd think, bruv, that ain't really for me, innit? Like, bless, like, live and let live. But do you want to have kids with someone who was going out with Madame Sheminu? She managed to coerce him into the relationship and he ignored all the red flags because he thinks, yeah, I'm me, I'm Brad. Whatever she's done in her past life doesn't apply to me because I'm Bradley. It's like, yeah, but once the novelty of her being with Bradley wears off, then you're just another source of narcissistic supply like the rest of them. Bradders, yeah? He meant business. He took this woman seriously. Billy Bob Thornton's marriage to Jolie was a pseudo marriage. It was basically just a glorified wank. Yeah, as long as he's getting young ass, he's content. The second she starts playing around with this woke stuff, he's gone. Bradley's a whole different story. He tried settling down and building a life with her. This wasn't just a wank to him. This was a real marriage. You want to adopt kids from the third world? Babes, I'm all on board. I never would have done that if I'd have stayed in Missouri, but I'm out here in LA, and this is what artists, this is what artists do. Angelina Jolie is born and bred in LA, and Brad Pitt is a small town all-American boy from Missouri. He was way over his head. He did not understand that Los Angeles is the B.P.D capital of the world.
You guys need to understand that Los Angeles is the B.P.D capital of the world.
I have Angelina here with you tonight. How is she doing?
She's doing great. She's prepping for a refugee day.
You see how he's stuttering? She's making him anxious with her own anxiety. She's transferred her anxiety onto him. She's good. Stuttering because she's unnerved the hell out of him. He dumped Aniston and replaced her with a more predatory, toxic female. But what you have to understand is with Aniston is personally, she's a nicer person than Jolie. But professionally, I don't like what she stands for. She made a name off of friend zoning with Ross in Friends.
Ross, you're so great.
It's never gonna happen. You waited too long to make your move, and now you're in the friend zone.
That whole show, I remember when it was hot back in 96, 97, and I was in school, when certain kids were like, Friends is wicked, man. Rachel is well fit, man. But ultimately, that show was a show about a dude who was a goofy doofus with a female that didn't want to shag him. She just wanted to keep him. She just wanted to be friends with him. But that was at a time when friend zones didn't even really make sense. Bruv, in the 90s was the last real decade, yeah. In the 90s, you had real life. So you didn't really get friend zoned as much as the time-honoured thing of unrequited love. You could get your heart broken, you could get dumped, but the technology hadn't developed to where a girl could have 10, 12 options, and she can have the options she wants sexually, romantically, and the other options she wants just to use for the free attention and the free validation. It was that much harder in a pre-internet world of the 90s for a girl to friend zone the way they do today. I'm a Generation X millennial cusp. I experienced that Generation X life because I was going to nightclubs in the mid-90s. Because back then they had under 18s nightclubs, The Ball.
In northwest London, there seem to be kids from good families.
And playing Cupid to all those good girls and boys must give the organisers job satisfaction. Well, the ball may be over, but the kissing continues throughout the year at a variety of social events.
I experienced 90s social life full throttle, yeah. So in terms of getting friend zoned, there was the 90s resilience. I remember I met a girl when I was 15 at the Ball. I had my first sexual experience. Then she dumped me because she met an 18-year-old older bloke, right? But the point is about friend zoning. In the 90s, friend zoning the decade wasn't quite ready for the concept yet. This girl that replaced me, yeah, like girls nowadays still try and friend zone their ex-boyfriends. Whereas back then, I was seeing her, she replaced me for the quote-unquote bigger and better deal, and it took me a couple of weeks to come to terms with it. Like, I remember she told me in the most diplomatic way possible, I'm sorry, babe, but I just, I've got a boyfriend now. And I'm like, I thought I was seeing you. I thought we were going to be an item, yeah? But anyway, the point being, after she diplomatically told me to piss off, I tried calling her a few times, and she wasn't having none of it. She was like, yeah, you're a sweet guy, but I'm with someone, and that was it. She weren't trying to keep me around for the free attention and the free validation. She was like, boom, I'm looking for a bloke, but I'm looking for the best bloke I can possibly get my hands on. That's not you, so move on, sweetheart. Yeah, so like I said, in the 90s, friend zone, for multiple reasons, technology wasn't what it was yet. So we were in this real life decade, pre-internet, the real world, not the cyber world decade. Friend zoning didn't make sense in the 90s, but the imagery that Aniston is responsible for creating then started permeating in the 2000s with all this digital technology that facilitated it, the smartphones, the social medias, where girls can no longer have just 3 or 4 guys on ice and pick the best option. They can have 15 guys, 20 guys on ice, and then pick the guys they like romantically or sexually, and in addition to that, keep the other guys they don't like, but keep them aboard for, like I said, favours, the resources, the attention, the validation. In summary, my thing with Jennifer Aniston is, yeah, you're a nicer woman than toxic ass Jolie. yeah? But two things with Aniston. Number one, I really don't like what you're like the media representation that you laid down in the 90s. I don't like that at all. Number one. And number two, you got with someone of Bradley's ilk, yeah? You got with a man of Brad Pitt's caliber, the creme de la creme guy. And you thought, you didn't realise that you're punching above your weight. You thought you could be a self-centered career woman and say, I don't want kids now and possibly never. And Brad Pitt would be content. It's like, babe, he's going to get bored with you after a period of time, yeah? So, but you're too nice to be like Meghan Markle, for example, who knew Prince Harry. Never mind he's ginger, he's a fucking prince, yeah? So she had to ensnarl him by getting pregnant. Even if she's in her 30s and she had to do IVF or UFC or whatever you call it, where women that are older want to get pregnant. She had to use these kind of sneaky tactics to inveigle Prince Harry into a web of poison, yeah? Aniston wasn't cunning like that because she's a nicer person, but consequently, Brad got bored and then he got inveigled himself into a web of toxic poison by Angelina Jolie. Then eventually Jolie, who was worried about her fertility due to her reckless youth, yeah, the unprotected sex, the unwanted pregnancies, whatever abortions she might have had, yeah, she was worried she wouldn't have a kid, but finally she gave Bradley a genetic kid to thus keep him in a way that Aniston couldn't. Because there's only so much Bradley's going to tolerate the kid from Vietnam, the kid from Laos, the kid from Timbuktu. Eventually he's going to say, can I have my own kids, please? Obviously it was never going to last, but Bradley and the maniac woman lasted for a good 10 years until finally he said, hey, stop the ride, I need to get off the bus. I can't do this anymore, yeah? The trauma bond went on for 10 years. And all of this psychotic horse crap because of daddy issues. Because daddy neglected her when she was growing up. Because daddy never got her that pony when she turned sweet 16.
Maybe you're just a screwed up sorority chick who's getting back at her daddy for not buying her that pony when she turned sweet 16.
And on that note of daddy issues, Billy Bob Thornton broke it off, and when he was asked, tell us about Jolie, he don't want none of that. He wants none of that drama.
She's a great person, great artist.
He just tells you she's a great artist, leave me alone. How is she an artist, bruv? That's like saying Arnold Schwarzenegger's an artist. Every movie she does, she's either the woman with mental health issues or the sassy chick with big lips. Because that's who she is in real life. It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger, every movie he does, whether he's a robot or a school teacher, he's an Austrian bodybuilder. He's an entertainer, he's not an artist. Jolie, her artistry is to make some bullshit movie where her and Brad can revel in their dysfunctional relationship, their dysfunctional marriage.
I'm jealous.
You're
sick.
No!
You're sick.
So she makes a stupid movie reveling in how fucked up their marriage is. We don't get on. Isn't it delicious? It's not delicious that your marriage is shit. It's just shit, period. It's just dysfunctional. It's just toxic. There's nothing artistic or delicious about a dysfunctional relationship. She's not an artist, bruv. Yeah, that's like saying Dante from The Last Don with his silly hat is an artist.
Where'd you get the dumb hat? Your mother gave it to me. She didn't get you one?
Great lesson to be learned from Bradgelina is you can't, from a male perspective, you can't try and build a life and settle down with someone on the strength of the honeymoon period. Do you want to know who's a gangster when it pertains to settling down? Yeah? You'll never guess it. The man who really is a boss when it pertains to settling down. Not necessarily romance, but settling down is Jason Donovan.
Remember me? The mullet, the big wedding.
He married a woman who was just a plain Jane. No jazzy, LA, B.P.D, this, that, and the third, Jezebel, toxic female, whatever. He married a woman who was a plain Jane simpleton. She wanted a nuclear family and kids. That's it. It's not Basic Instinct. It's not Sharon Stone. It's not a sexy game. Now, as we get towards the end of this video, I'm going to do something
especially for you.
Jason Donovan. Let's see what this is saying. I'm eating this chocolate from a place of magnanimity. You could say I'm eating this chocolate
especially for you.
that tasted good. Merry Christmas.